Well, it's interesting that Brian mentioned Snakes on a Plane because there's another horror movie out there right now. It's called W by Oliver Stone. And one of the things we didn't mention on the show today, but it is now an absolutely sure thing that every investor who put a dime in that movie, which trashes President Bush, every one of the people who invested in that Oliver Stone movie will lose money. After its first week, the business was down 59%. Meanwhile, a little movie that, okay, my kids loved it. And it's a G-rated movie, believe it or not, called High School Musical 3. Just did $43 million opening weekend, showing that when you offer the American people something hopeful and something wholesome, they will buy it and they will come. And that's what I want to speak to you about tonight. I want to speak to you about two misunderstandings or disagreements concerning this election. And I want to do it very quickly so you do have time for questions. I almost never disagree with my friend Dennis Prager. But Dennis said something on the air today that I really do disagree with. And I happened to hear him today. And so I'm going to take this opportunity. Dennis, you'll have your equal time, even without the fairness doctrine. Dennis said today that, yes, he thinks this is an important election, but he thought the election of 2004 was even more important. Let me tell you why this is one of those rare instances where even the great Prager is wrong, okay? He's wrong because in 2004, we had a Republican Congress. We did. We did not have Nancy Pelosi and Harry Reid. We did not have and you see, this is the shocking thing. Michael Gerson, the former speechwriter for President Bush, just wrote a column saying we're now going to have to count on Obama to rein in the extremes of the Democratic Congress. This is a worse horror movie than W or Snakes on a Plane. This is Snakes in the Capitol. It's no good. The other reason that this is more important than 2004 is because in 2004, we were electing a president for only 4 years. For President Bush, because he was term limited. If John Kerry had won, there's no chance John Kerry ever would be reelected to anything. I mean, except for positions in Massachusetts, which is a separate story. But seriously, this year, whoever wins the presidency will be a two-term president. Let me explain it. It's very clear. People who are saying, all right, well, we're going to let Obama win, and then we're going to come back and sweep him out. Forget it. The American economy is going to come back. We are going to have a recovery. If Obama is the president, he will delay that recovery by stupid policies just long enough so that the recovery occurs in 2011 or 2012 just in time to assure his reelection. You can see it. I'm predicting this. You can see it. God forbid Obama wins this thing, and then we hear in 2012, he came in with the worst economy since the Great Depression, and now a recovery is underway. It's really extraordinarily likely that the next president will be there for 8 years. And in 8 years, there is damage that can be done right now with a Democratic Congress. Listen, politics is temporary. Entitlements are forever. And Obama is talking about a boatload of new entitlements. I mean, really. A lot of people are talking about, he's talking about universal preschool guaranteed by the federal government for every American child at age 3. But now he says it's going to be universal voluntary preschool. Voluntary for the students, but not voluntary for the taxpayers who are paying for it. And if you think that once we establish an entitlement, a right to preschool for every American family, that we're ever going to take it back, forget it, we never will. These things last forever. President Carter, the worthless one, President Carter initiated the Department of Education. And when President Reagan beat him, President Reagan was talking about abolishing the Department of Education, which, by the way, spends $56 billion a year of your money and doesn't educate a single child. They don't. They pay for bureaucrats. And the Department of Education, President Reagan came in, we haven't been able to get rid of it since. What's happened? The Department of Education was established in the early 70s, right? The late 70s. It was established under Carter. And do you think that education has improved since we established a cabinet-level Department of Education? Anyone believe that? But you can't get rid of these things. And when Obama talks about a national entitlement to health care, health insurance provided by the federal government, you think once that's installed, oh yeah, we're going to come in and repeal it? Forget it. And when it comes to moral issues, when it comes to marriage, when it comes to abortion, I was talking during that reception before, one of the things that Obama backs is something called the Freedom of Choice Act, which would codify Roe v. Wade in the federal code. So even if we get a decent Supreme Court decision at some point in the future, that the right to abortion is federally guaranteed. A lot of these issues will be decided in the next 8 years. And once marriage is changed on the federal level, and Obama wants to repeal the Defense of Marriage Act, and it becomes federalized, it will never go back. It's not a question of saying, okay, we're going to lose this one, and then we're going to come back and win bigger. Our country will be changed utterly. And let me speak, the second point I wanted to make was another assumption that people make is that, well, basically it's all over but the shouting. There's all this gloom and doom. Some of the conservative elites in Washington, D.C. and in New York City have attacked Governor Palin. They have trashed the ticket. They are fair weather friends. They are faint of heart. They are rats deserving a ship that's about to go to safe harbor. And those are very stupid rats. And let me tell you the core reason that I'm encouraged. I'm encouraged because I remember 2004, and so do you. After 2004 happened, and President Bush beat the odds and beat John Kerry's lead and won a 3-point victory all across the country. Do you remember the day after the election and the week after the election and the month after the election, what all the pundits talked about? Oh, values voters, where did they come from? Do you remember this? Because the exit polls showed that more people listed moral values as their #1 issue than listed the war in Iraq, than listed the economy and jobs, than listed health care, than listed education, than listed anything. The American people really did care about those issues. That's going to happen again, and I've got evidence. The evidence has to do with what is going on in the state of California. And both you and Dennis live in California, and they can tell you. Proposition 8, which goes back to the traditional definition of marriage. It's not a ban on gay marriage. It is a simple statement that marriage in California shall only be recognized and valid between one man and one woman. That's all it says. It's not a hateful document at all. That proposition, the experts said it could never pass because California is a blue, blue, blue state and it's very liberal and people are very liberal. Here's the amazing thing. That Proposition has surged ahead in the polls. The people from Equality for All, which is the group promoting gay marriage, acknowledge that now they're running behind. It is possible Proposition 8 will win in a landslide. In Florida, Proposition 2 is on the ballot, also protecting traditional marriage. The most recent poll released yesterday, it is passing with 55% of the vote. People really do care about the values issues. And let me conclude tonight by telling you why people are right to care. The conventional wisdom, our fair weather friends, and a lot of the experts will tell you, right now in America, nothing matters except the economy. That's all that people care about is the economy. These values issues are crucial to the economy. Let me tell you why. What is the best guarantee that you can have of decent care if you're sick, of security in your old age, of actually growing up, raising children to be prosperous, productive people? It's called a family. The values matter. And what is the one factor that most destroys someone's chances of economic prosperity and success, that most predisposes someone toward poverty? The one factor that does that most is called out-of-wedlock birth or marital breakdown. These issues are not separate from the economy. They're the very heart of the economy. You talk about schools. Everybody wants better education for our kids. And yes, there is no question at all that their success in schools will determine their success in business and in life and in earning money and avoiding poverty. All of that is true. However, everyone in this room knows, everyone knows, that what will determine the success of children in school is all about the values they learn at home more than the quality. More than the quality of the schools, or God forbid, the amount of money that's lavished and thrown at the schools. These values issues matter. They matter deeply. And there's one conservative value above all that's going to see us to victory. It's called the value of optimism. There was just a Pew Research study that shows that conservatives, even today in the midst of being attacked constantly in the gloom and the doom, conservatives are decisively happier than liberals. We are. And the numbers are astonishing. People who say they are either not at all happy or not so happy, 20% of liberals, only 9% of us. Why are we only half as likely to be complainers and whiners and unhappy and down in the dumps? You know why? Because conservatives understand that what happens to us is up to us with God's help. It is not up to big social forces. It is certainly not up to government. It is not up to Barack Obama. And God knows it is not up to Joe Biden. It isn't. It's up to us and up to what we do. It's the kind of optimism that leads two POWs to whistle at each other in their pain, knowing that they will ultimately prevail. We will prevail. We can win 8 days from today. With your help and your vote for American values, we will win. And let's go out there and win this one for the Gipper. Thank you very, very much.